Right, so I'm going to make some pine resin glue or pine pitch glue. I managed to get all this lot of pine resin or whatever, or pine sap. I'll tell you where I got this from. This was actually from the root of a tree, and I think what had happened is something had scuffed along the root, damaged it, and then this stuff was literally just, or had been, pouring out of it. You can see tons of it there. The most I've ever found in one go. It's got some dirt stuck on it, some of it has, but most I've ever found. So, with some of it I'm going to make some pine pitch glue, whatever. I'll see what I can make out of that bit. I'm just going to see if I can scrape some of this off, but if the dirt is scraping away too much of the pine resin, I'm not going to bother. Well, there's a bit of it gone. It shouldn't really matter. So what you really need is some pine resin or pine sap, whatever, something to heat it up with, something to put it in. Now whatever you're going to put it in, prepare for it to be ruined, and you'll only ever use it for putting pine resin in. You need some sticks, some charcoal ground up, and some sort of other material. Now, a lot of people use rabbit droppings, but you can't always find rabbit droppings, you know what I mean? So kind of dried plant material, like dried leaves would work, and grind them up similar to, like, near enough a similar consistency as the charcoal. So that's what I've got there, and these are kind of like dried leaves which have been ground up. So you could use rabbit droppings or some sort of manure. The reason people use that is because they say the animal's already chewed it up, so you know, and ground it up for you. But as that's only like chewed up leaves and grass and stuff, you could replicate that yourself. So that's dried plant matter, charcoal, the pine resin, and some sticks to scoop it up on. As far as I know, I could be wrong, the charcoal is to stop it being so brittle, and the plant matter is to kind of help it bind together, if that makes sense. And the only part which is hard to explain in this is how much to put in. It's kind of guesswork. So, but I suppose basically you're going to put less of the charcoal and less of the leaves than you are your pine resin. So we'll see if we can heat this up a bit. So once you've done this, this pot is basically going to be ruined, really. You don't want this to set fire either. To be honest, that might be too hot already in there. It's the only problem using stoves like this. Sometimes you can set fire. I'll cut the video and we'll come back to it when this is melted. Right, so off camera just then this sat on fire, but that's what I've got now. The smell of it is wonderful. Now mine has got, you can see some little chunks of, see there, like that, and that's like a bit of probably bark or something from the root. So if you can get them out, then yeah, but if you can't be bothered, then it's up to you. Some people, what they do is sieve this now to get out any big bits. Depends how fine you want it. So there's another bit there which I can get out. Right. Now this is the hard bit, deciding how much of each to put in. So I reckon, what do you reckon? I've probably got 2 teaspoons full in there, maybe 3. So I'll put a normal teaspoon of that in there, and the same of this. So it's like half the amount each. This may have been better to be ground off a bit more, but should be right. Because if it isn't, what we can always do is you can later on reheat this back in here again and add more of whatever you need to add. So more pine pit, you know, more pine resin, or more of the charcoal or whatever. So even if you find this is too brittle, it's not the end. You just heat it up again, melt it again, and add whatever else again. So what I might do in a second is let this set and then have a look at it, and then we'll decide whether we want to put any more in or not. Right, well I've put a bit, while it's drying, I've put a bit on this stick there like that. I'm just going to try it. It's not sticking very well and it's brittle, very brittle. So what we want to do is heat this up again a bit more and add a bit more of each again. It's still brittle at the minute. Now I've also heard people say a good substitute for your plants, your plant matter, whatever, is sawdust as well. Is a good idea. Rabbit droppings, any kind of animal crap, what I reckon. Be careful, this can just set on fire instantly. And once it goes and you have to smother it to put it out. You may be able to blow it out, but it's a bit dangerous because this is all like red hot burning oil. Very flammable. You know what I mean? to put another half a teaspoon of the charcoal in, mix it, and half a teaspoon more of my dried leaves, dried and ground leaves. So we'll let that set and then we'll try that as well. Right, I've been kind of just experimenting, putting a bit in and adding a bit more, and that's the only thing you can do really, unless there is a, you know, someone out there's got a hard and fast rule and knows exactly how much to put in this, but I don't. So we'll just experiment. Just put it in there and keep going like that. Because like I said, even if it turns out it's not right, you make it, it turns out it's not right, just pick it off, put it back in here, do it again. I'm just wrapping it around this stick as much as I can. Once you get a fair bit on, you can do it with your hand. Watch you don't burn yourself. Setting in there now. I think that's about right. Doesn't feel really brittle or anything. I want doing that all off a camera. You can heat that up and scrape a bit more out, but that's basically what you're going to get, something like that. And then to use it, you just heat it back up again. You may not have a stove the second time. Heat it up again with something. Try not to set it on fire. And then you get a stick or something and you pick it off and then apply it to whatever you need to stick down or whatever. That makes sense. Alright, so that's basically that. I'm going to carry on making this and do a few more. Right, cheers for watching. I'll see you later.